Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment, we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people and to the still larger cause of humanity. This is the Tryst with Destiny speech delivered by Jawaharlal Nehru. Indian independence didn't happen in a day. It was a result of long struggle and sacrifices made by the freedom fighters. Now, let me explain the chronology of events that finally converged to the independence of India. In 1857, India's first war of independence was an attempt to unite India against the invading British. The rebellion led to the end of East India Company's rule in India. The Indian National Congress, also known as Congress Party or INC, was created in 1885 and became India's major political party. The party became the nation's leader in the independence movement in its struggle against the British Empire. In 1915, Gandhiji returned to India and joined the Indian National Congress. He took leadership of Congress in 1920 and began agitating against the British. On January 26, 1930, the Indian National Congress declared the independence of India, which the British did not recognize. In 1990, the tragic Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place on April 13. This event, in which Brigadier General E.H. Diya ordered indiscriminate firing at a crowd, including women and children, killing hundreds of them, caused much resentment and anger among the people and led to a non-cooperation movement. In 1920, the non-cooperation movement was a significant phase of the Indian struggle for freedom. Protesters would refuse to buy British goods, adopt the use of local handicrafts, picket liquor shop, and try to uphold the Indian values of honor and integrity. The Salt March was an act of civil disobedience led by Mohandas Gandhi to protest British rule in India, which took place from March to April 1940. The march resulted in the arrest of nearly 60,000 people, including Gandhi himself. India finally was granted its independence in 1947. Britain's Salt Act of 1882 prohibited Indians from collecting or selling salt. Gandhi declared resistance to British salt policies to be a unifying theme for his new campaign of Satyagraha, or mass civil disobedience. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi set out from his ashram, Sabarmati, with several dozen followers on a trek of some 240 miles to the coastal town of Dundee. On reaching Dundee, Gandhiji, along with his followers, started to make salt by evaporating seawater. In 1935, the Government of India Act and the creation of new constitution laid the foundations for the events that would follow in the next decade and thereafter. In 1940, England's involvement in the Second World War weakened the British Empire. In 1942, the Quit India movement called for the immediate withdrawal of the British from India, and British responded by putting most of the INC leadership in jail. And at last, in 1947, the end of British rule and partition of subcontinents into mainly Hindu India and Muslim majority state of Pakistan. And India welcomed its new dawn with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's famous word, "At the stroke of midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom."